Okay, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order, please.
Is that me? Is it me?
Are we still without a roll call?
I don't know.
Who wants to?
I think it's me.
It's the clerk.
The clerk.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Man, these transition months are hard.
All right, okay, Dan Cater.
Yes.
Scott Gergen.
Here.
Lisa Hedin.
Here.
Kyle Latch.
Here.
Teresa Mose here. Vince O'Brien.
Here.
Superintendent Collins.
Here.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Agenda approved. How about the minutes from January 21st?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And the rather lengthy list of bills payable.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And some good news. Actually, from the looks of things out there, lots of good news.
Yeah.
Lots of good news, yeah, Scott was ill today, so we're gonna be moving that to March, and plus with the elementary kids being this cold, we probably would have moved them, but we're not going, cold does not bother Nordic and alpine skiing, so we'll bring them on in.
Oh, yeah. Come on in.
Oh, everybody.
Everybody. I would assuming they all fit.
I know, there's a lot of them.
I know. Well, it was a whole Alpine team. That's pretty fast.
Come on, Sarah.
I know,
We'll
both
have
boys and
to
girls.
wind around here.
Yeah, come on up front.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for
Yeah, Thank
asking.
you for coming out. It's pretty cool.
We have Nordic and Alpine mixed together.
You guys can
Yeah,
come in.
come on in. Come on in.
Good, how are
You can come in and sit down.
Disturbingly large number of chairs.
Yeah.
So now you got a kid. Wow. So I bet your perspective on schools has changed a lot over the years. Good to see you.
Well, welcome, and for the coaches, you've been through this before, it's all about you sharing with the school board, even though we haven't had a lot of snow and it's been a little chilly, the great year we've had.
We've had a great year. Thanks for inviting us. I'm Suzanne Liebeg. I am an assistant coach for alpine skiing. And this is Jim Piney, our head coach. And I'll let you introduce the kids.
Yeah, most of them here. We have Sarah Jelps, junior, Ellie Piney, junior, Caleb Boomgren, 9th grade, Shannon O'Connor, 9th grade, Hayden Bieber, 9th grade, Jacob Piney, 9th grade, Jack Kateria, 9th grade, Stephen O'Connor, junior, Sam McKinney, a junior. Those are the alpine skiers that we have here.
And their parents have joined us also. Pat and Kathleen O'Connor, Sarah and Tim Niebuhr, Leanne Boogren, Joan Piney, Deb McKinney, and Melanie Jelps.
Welcome.
So Captain, you want to say just a quick word? Because these people have important business. Yes.
Tell us about your season.
Well, it started off pretty good. I think we won all but one conference race, and then we won sections too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And we won an invitational,
Yeah.
a Welch invitational. We
Then
did
second half.
second at the Afton invitational.
Because I fell.
Did you
I
get
was gonna
hurt?
ask why.
How long have you all been doing this?
I've been doing it since I was like 7.
How about the rest of you guys?
6th grade.
3 years.
And 3 years.
I think most of them were 7th grade. Sam was you started 9th grade.
Yeah.
But I think the rest of you all started 7th grade.
And since I've been doing this longer than they've been breathing, it is the first time I remember going with both the boys and the girls to the state tournament the same year.
Oh,
So,
congratulations.
yeah, we are very proud of them.
Where was state this year?
Giants Ridge
Oh.
by Waback.
Yeah.
Nice cold day up there.
And it's fun because alpine skiing is on Wednesday, and then John and Rick come up the next day with their Nordic team and join us.
Should we segue?
Sure.
Do you want to hear from the Girl Scouts?
Yeah.
Yeah, the girls did really good this year. I was really proud of us for making it to state. It was awesome. When they called third, we were pretty happy. Even though they didn't even call our names yet, we still kind of freaked out. We had a really cool picture of all of us freaking out even before they called our names. So that was really awesome.
Is there a Facebook page that has a picture of all you guys on it?
I think
Somebody friend
yeah.
us.
Okay, Shutter.
I don't remember where I saw it, but yeah, it was
Cool.
a really cool picture.
Cool.
And you guys are young. I mean, you're
Yeah,
all
the
back
team is-
next year, so that's really promising.
Yeah, we have no seniors. which is
Wow.
pretty incredible.
So if we don't get back to state,
Yeah.
is it coaching or performance?
Should I say goodbye today?
Yeah. So high expectations for next year.
Oh, man, so do we.
Okay.
So do we.
Very-
Thank you.
I hope
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks. Congratulations.
Pretty cool.
And you fast people.
Oh, the Nordic world, yeah. I'd like to introduce Coach Wheeler. Rick and I have worked together 25 years, and Rick actually was the assistant coach of the year in our section this year, so it's really always fun to work with Rick. You guys probably met Rachel Peterson. This is her 4th trip to the state meet. To be able to do that 4 straight years, 9, 10, 11, 12, it's never been done in Hastings as far as Nordic skiing. You know, we've had Olympic champions, we've had state champions, but never have we had a kid that has gone 4 years in a row. So that's really, really cool. Rachel's going to go to school out east between, what, 4 schools?
Yeah.
4 schools, but she's taken up rowing. She's doing a lot of it now, kind of in the off season and during the spring, but she's going to be taking up rowing. David Saunders, one of our former skiers, did that. He went to Boston College, and you know he did the same thing. So that's really, really cool. Rachel had a great year. Won the conference, the new Metro East Conference. Won the conference sprint championships. Her 8th grade sister took second, so it was a really fun day. And it was a warm day. I mean, it was like 40 degrees compared to some of the days we've had. So Rachel's just had a great high school career, and one of the top students too at the high school, without question. What's really cool too with the girls team, they have 7 kids racing section meet, and they take the 5 kids that are, you average the 5 kids who has their GPA. The 5 girls out of the 7, GPA 3.79. Which is really, really cool. So they're academic all-state, and Rachel individually, she's individual all-state too academic, so really, really cool for the girls team. The next 2 guys, Will Katuria and Kyle Goodmanson. Will was a former alpine skier. And they're both like cross country.
There's some resemblance.
So I have had both these guys in cross country running, and really, really in great shape and really top runners. And so Will came up to me last year and he says, "Hey, I'm thinking about maybe trying Nordic." And I said, "Yeah, sure, that would be cool." So he has learned both disciplines literally in 1 season. He did last year, almost made it to state. And this year, he made it to state meet. I mean, that's cool. 2 years doing 2 sports and qualifying for the state meet. It's just unbelievable. And he finished better than half of all the people racing at the state meet, which really, really awesome. And Will's going to North Dakota State next year, going to be skiing on the farm fields. But he's going to become a pilot. So he is 4.0 in the high school class, and just a phenomenal, phenomenal kid. He's an Eagle Scout, and just really, really has been fun working with Will over the last few years. The boys team altogether, the top 5, they ended up with a GPA of 3.81. So that's really cool too. So just a top group of kids. Kyle Goodmanson is one of my runners, and he didn't do a lot in the winter. And I says, "Hey, you got to try Nordic skiing, Kyle." And so Kyle came out as a junior, did really, really well last year. But again, in his 2nd year as a junior, came out and qualified for the state meet. Him and Will were neck and neck going into the finals of the section meet. So
1st and 3rd in conference.
yeah, 1st and 3rd in the whole conference, and the boys team won the conference title. So the first time in the Metro East they came out and won the conference title, which was really, really cool. Appreciate you guys. You've all had a great season, and Rachel, best of luck to you in your career in college, and Will also. We're getting you back though. It's all good. It's good. Tell them, I bet they have a lot of questions as far as weather, cold, what's it like? I mean, yeah.
How far is the race?
It's, well,
5K, they're about 3 miles, but we do one race of each, so classic and skate, so it ends up being 10K for the big races, and conference and sections and state. So.
Girls same distance?
Yep.
Yeah.
Rachel, what's your favorite memory?
Oh my goodness. Especially this year, I would say, because being a senior, it was kind of very emotional my last year, but it was so cool to see a lot of the girls that we have are 7th and 8th graders this year. So we have a lot of upcoming girls, and it was really cool to teach them the sport and kind of get them really interested into it. And I know that they're going to be coming out next year, so I'm excited.
Her sister's in 8th grade, so, yeah. And she displayed a lot of leadership as a captain, and Will was the captain this year, too.
How many of the schools are in Boston?
One.
Okay. Good luck with the choices. Will, I remember you when you were very little
Yeah.
scout, so
Yeah.
congratulations to you guys. Wow, it's tremendous accomplishments.
And your sister made it to state too?
No, she didn't.
Okay,
She was pretty close, but
okay.
yeah.
Any other kids at home yet?
It was really cool in the conference sprint race, you know, they have heats of different, you know, they all go one club, and they do these heats, so it comes down to the last 6 girls. And so her and her sister are in this race together. And so they're going into the finish, and Rachel's in number 1, and there's another girl, top girl in the conference that's in number 2, and her little sister is coming down this hill, and there's not a lot of snow on the right side, and her little sister comes scooting around the right, like literally over grass, and passes the girl up and gets second place. So her little sister was really cool to get first and second overall in the sprint races. So it was really cool. Fun time.
Did you guys do the Duluth supper and?
We
over
did.
the-
It was, I was telling Tim it was so cold up there. Oh my gosh. You walked outside and it's just in the back, you know, this fire pit with s'mores and marshmallows, and you open the door and it's just like the wind is just blowing off. Like it was so
Kyle,
cold.
tell them about your marshmallows.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is unbelievable.
Well, I was roasting my marshmallows, and so then I figured that they were good, so I took them out of the fire to put them to make my s'more. And before I could even make my s'more, they were frozen.
It's like breaking tooth.
Well, on behalf of the board and the community, there's been 2 things that have been mentioned tonight. Work ethic, it'd be 3 things: work ethic, determination, and good students. And we definitely, as a board, recognize all 3 of those being very important in life. And so we thank you. And for those of you coming back, the pressure is on. Somebody take a photo because we want to see these guys here next year too. So thank you very much for coming here and for having your parents. We also know that great young men and women come from great parents. So, and coaches, once again, 25 years, I don't know how many years. But the board really appreciates people that give of their time to our young students and young men and women. So thank you very much.
Thank you, friends.
And if you guys want to stick around for the board meeting, you're more than welcome. Otherwise, you can head out.
That was there a week ago. It's the clip you knocked on.
Way over there.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good parent turnout.
Very good.
I knew Will when he was in Cub Scouts with Connell, Boy Scouts with Connell. They were really good kids back then.
No, one's a junior and one's a senior.
Yeah.
The Couturier.
Yeah. Well, the one is a senior.
One's in 9th grade.
Oh.
Well, he's taller than, he's almost as tall
Oh.
taller than his brother almost, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that was good.
Well, some of the superintendent's report is update from some of the board members. Really, I know that Vince, you were able to go. Lisa, I don't know if you went today too. And so if you just, number one, thank you for taking time out of your busy lives to do the Capitol visit. And I know that Joe Haas was there and Mary O'Brien and Carrie
Castle.
Yep.
So just tell us a little bit about it. Was it worth the time?
You wanna?
Sure. So we went up, our group of 5 and representative from C,
Yep.
Schools for
Equity and Education.
Equitable Education, and met with 4 of the representatives that have a role in education funding, both our state senator, Katie Seaman and our representative, Denny McNamara, and then Representative Garofalo, who kind of captures the southern section of our district. We met with all three of them, and then the chair of the education,
Senator Uyghur.
Senator Uyghur, on a funding, kind of an overall funding side. And just really shared our support for a couple of educational funding pieces, primarily around facilities funding. There's sort of two inequitable ways that districts can achieve capital funding for maintenance, and we talked about how we'd like to see that resolved. Some districts have the authority to levy without voter approval for maintenance funding of schools, and not surprisingly, that changes kind of how they can approach their capital management and maintenance, and certainly like to see that made equitable and expanded throughout the state. And then just to talk about our support for a strong increase, at the very least, inflation increase in the funding formula. And it was interesting, at kind of a slightly different take back from each representative and senator, but they were very giving of their time and really engaged in the conversations.
Yeah, I guess they appreciate any feedback from anyone in the district, whether that's a board member, staff, or
A citizen,
parents.
parents.
If anyone wants to express how they feel about any aspect of school funding and laws that impact schools, they really appreciate that. Senator Uyghur seemed to indicate that he felt that things were eventually going to wind up in conference committee, and that it was going to come down to the Senate and the House and having different approaches to the facilities versus the formula, and that the governor had a role in all that too. So he urged people that, for instance, if people wanted to support the facilities bill, that they should reach out to the governor's office as well as legislators and indicate their support, because that would manifest itself in more support when it gets to crunch time. Crunch time is anticipated to be late in the session, and
Which is April into May.
Yeah.
But
it was a good day, and it
Good.
was Hastings. Like I was
We're
telling
well
you before the
represented.
meeting, over half the people who were scheduled to be there today didn't come, but everybody from Hastings made it, and it was nice to see.
So is the facilities bill actually drafted?
There is a facilities bill. It's supported in the Senate by Democrats, and in the House they were hoping to get a Republican author for the bill, but were unable to do that. So it's going to be difficult in the House, but there's a Senate author, or there's a House author for the bill that's a Democrat, but they were hoping to get a Republican author.
Does the bill as it's drafted now address kind of the inequity around like White Bear Lake, because they have so much roof square footage? They don't have to ask if they want to re-roof, they re-roof. Here,
essentially, the bill, as I understand it, says we're just going to allow alternative funding for maintenance statewide. It's not about we're going to add more names to the list. We're going to allow that statewide. And then there's an equity piece that that does require some state funding, because obviously some districts are property rich, and should they want to raise $500 per pupil, it's a nominal amount versus some that are property poor, and it'd be a much more substantial amount that would have to be raised on their taxpayers. So there's some equity, maybe seeing it phased in. But instead of just saying, well, now here we'll add 10 districts, or we'll take some out, it would just expand that approach, saying, if go in front of your voters, get approval for your facility, construct your facility, and then develop a 10-year plan and maintenance you don't need to levy. Or you don't need to go out and voter-approved levy.
The other discussion points were Senator Sieben spent time talking with us about the proposal for fourth grade. I'm sorry.
4-year-old.
Keep saying that. 4-year-old programming in the districts, and doing it through the schools and not through scholarships, because doing it through scholarships sort of takes money away from the schools, and doing it through the schools would funnel the money into the school programs. So that was interesting. there was, one of the things that we were tentatively going to talk about is this free breakfast for K through 3, but nobody seemed to really ever talk about that.
That didn't come up from any of the representatives.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Hmm.
Whenever anything did get talked about being implemented, it was always talked about being phased in. So that would be something apparently that if it does pass, will get phased in.
I'm fine. I mean,
yeah. I've heard you talk about it. And the three concerns we were going to express if anyone gave us an opportunity were, does that mean we have to bus kids in earlier? Do we have to alter the time of day to accommodate the time for the breakfast? And potential issues on staffing and those kinds of issues. But for whatever reason, it just never came up.
That's good for me to know so that I can follow up. But again, thank both of you. I know that it takes time out of your day. It's a commitment. And it's really a big commitment on a day with the weather the way it was today. And I'm sure that's why some other schools.
I never pay to park at the Capitol ever, and I paid to park at the Capitol today, very, very close to a building.
Because I'm sure some of them said, we're not going there, it's cold. So thank you very much.
Do we know with the House and Senate leadership what their proposal is? The governor offered is proposing 1%. Do we know what their counter?
It's a good question.
would be?
I heard so many numbers today on the formula.
They don't have anything
Actually,
drafted. The House and Senate are waiting for the February
forecast,
which will really be the first week of March, and then that's when they'll establish their targets. So
But I
no,
heard-
there's no, I mean, we've heard weird numbers from, we hope to get 1%. I can't imagine it'd be less than 1% all the way up to 4. I mean, I don't know if you heard different numbers. but
Yeah, I
those-
heard
that
1,
was-
4, and 5.
That was the range I heard.
I
But
like
until
some
we
of
get a
those numbers.
forecast, until they get a forecast and react to it, they're
I
not,
was just
they're not gonna
curious
put a number.
how different they were going to be from what the governor had.
Thank you for your time. I think it's worth it. And I also like the fact that, we had a parent that was there with you. We had Joe Haas that was there with
Yep.
you, Mary O'Brien. I think that's good for them to interact as well. Joint powers, I threw that on here. Our committees, we sometimes meet and we don't always bring back, what's going on. Dan and I and Lisa were at joint powers. I don't know if there's a lot going on. One of the things that was discussed is the summer PITS program. I think they're going to, between Mary O'Brien and, the rec.
Chris Martin.
Yeah, is it
Chris Martin?
Jenkins?
Jenkins.
They're going to transition the summer PITS program over under the rec umbrella. Correct?
Yeah, because they have a rec coordinator, and the coordinator that's been on the school side has kind of moved on in her career and isn't active. She's going to come in, this will be a transition year with summer 2016. It would be the parks person running the program in the parks.
So that was one of our main points of discussion. I know that Tony Nelson talked about some city council members are going to start maybe rotating through the Joint Powers Committee so that they're going to start, Tony's always been there, and so he wants a city council member to start rotating through just to get the experience. There wasn't anything else major really, was there?
We're gonna do a new newsletter.
Oh, I guess it
That
is.
is kind of a big.
Yeah, that is a big thing. Yeah.
It'd be community-wide?
So,
Yes.
yeah, we spent some time talking about the newsletter, more or less a reminder.
Just an annual report.
Yeah, kind of an
kinda.
annual report and reminder, so people are aware, the joint powers exists and what we do and, and all the things that they should be taking advantage of out in the community. And we spent a lot of time talking about how to best deliver that as far as timing and how to make it cost really nothing.
And we came up with some great ideas.
Yes, exactly.
The Hastings senior newsletter goes out, so we
Yep.
could slide it in there. There were 2 or 3 ways that we could just slide this into things that are already being mailed out, just to let people know that we do things with the senior center. We do have the summer PITS program. We do have other things that are going on and how we work collaboratively with the city. And then I think one other thing we just talked, and this is out there ways, with lacrosse having probably growing like soccer started and it grew. lacrosse has started and it's going to grow. So as a community, where does lacrosse, soccer, softball all play in the summer? And, you know, if it's going to be on middle school and high school fields, lacrosse is hard on fields, that we need to get into some level of sharing lacrosse and sharing soccer, and that is vets only soccer. And so we just talked about some future, even though we're declining in student enrollment, kids' participation in some of those other programs. Lacrosse has added another. I asked a question of what's the size of a lacrosse field, and Dan said wherever we can fit it.
Yeah, like the same dimensions as a pond basin, I guess.
Yeah, adjust accordingly. So we had some discussion about that as a city and school, how we provide that green space for a program that we do believe is going to continue.
See, it was a very positive meeting. I mean, it was like, oh, we're going to work this all out and everything's going to be great. Sometimes in the past, those things can get a little bit edgy because, you know, you got competing interests in the community over the same green space. So,
Yeah.
But no, it was very
Good
positive.
yeah, very good meeting. The last thing then to review and discuss is Vision 2025. We discussed at our work session. I went back and chatted with Paul Veit to get a little bit more about the wellness. So I just want to run it by you one more time as a board and to see if you believe that these are some focus areas that we can start talking about and getting some planning for. Because in the end, and we said this to the community, we said it to the advisory committee, the board still makes the determination. We appreciate everybody who sits on the committees, but the board's the one that has to say, yeah, that makes some sense to us. So I'm just going to go walk through them real quick, and after tonight then, what would probably happen is the very first thing is I and administrators would talk about these to our staff and let them know about it. Then I'd talk to Vince about, should we have a community meeting, what should that look like, and a chance for the community to hear about it and then ask some questions about it. But again, the technology committee goals, digital literacy for staff and students, continuing to communicate our vision, what we are doing out in the community, digital citizenship, that ties back into responsibility, social media, texting, tweeting, Facebook, being a responsible young adult, professional development for staff and students, how to use the technology that's in our school. And again, all these are vague because it rolls forward in the future. And then technology that supports the ever-changing learning environment. So then if we believe that's LearnPads, we bring in some LearnPads. If we believe it's Chromebooks, we bring in some Chromebooks. If it's iPads, we bring in some iPads, whatever it might be. The Wellness Committee goals, Paul said that they never focused in as a group necessarily on mental health, physical health, social well-being. They figured that all of those things would come in under these 5 areas. So he said, so for example, communication, lots of people at their group, and he says, I've been in this school district and community for 29 years, I didn't know we were doing all this. We just need to communicate tidbits out there about that we do have Canvas mental health now at our middle schools, that we do have 360 social workers. So the communication, the targeted services, smart, small, and build off the Y model. So use mental health as an example. If we as a district down the road believe that mental health should be something that we want to focus in on, then we start small and we target it at wherever we believe the high priority is, Pinecrest or JFK, and we build a successful model there, and then we expand it out, and then we expand it out. And he said the smart choices is also a systematic approach to whether it be physical well-being, mental well-being, whatever it might be. It's again, we have a smart choices program for food in our district. And Paul said, we all said, hey, we're eating healthier and we're being reminded to eat healthier than ever before. And it's that approach where communicate, dabble with it a little bit, communicate, dabble with it a little bit. And the wellness czar, he said, that would tie into money, but it'd be basically so that everybody in the district or the community knows you go to this person if you have a question about what are some mental health resources, and he goes, we all don't believe that that's gonna happen next year, that we're gonna hire a wellness guru, but that, he goes, you asked us to dream, this is the dream. And then physical movement, that's pretty much self-explanatory, the increased need for physical movement, whether it be in a FIAD class or within the classroom itself, whatever that might be. Can we go back? Any questions from you as board members on any of those 5 core areas for us as a district? Okay. And then the academic, again, I think we've all stated more than once, we realize that this is a strong core of what we do. It's going to take a lot more discussion on all these, a lot more meetings on all these. And Vince asked our advisory committee, how do you feel about the process and would you want to keep doing it for the next 5 or 6 years? And everybody said yes. They all said, yeah, we do need to come and communicate about 21st century skills and best practices. Again, you saw the core theme on communication in all 3 of the targeted areas. The mission statement, whatever it is, whether we agree with this mission statement or that mission statement, getting that out there more in our communication process, wouldn't you say, Vince?
Yep.
If Tim Collins sends out an email, that the mission statement's at maybe the bottom of his email. If I send out e-news, it's the mission statement's maybe on e-news, whatever. Again, nobody's defined that yet. Achievement gap, whether that be achievement in math in 3rd or 4th grade, whether that be achievement gap in ethnicity, whether that be achievement gap between males and females, whatever that might be, continually working to close the achievement gap. And then Vince at our work session, their group did a good explanation of this matrix of, I don't want to, maybe matrix is a good.
Yeah, I think it is.
Maybe matrix is a good way to, that's how I envision it in my mind. All these different things that we think of whenever we're making decisions as a board, whether Mike Johnson is making a decision when a teacher comes to him about adding a class, he starts asking himself some of those questions. How many students does it meet? How much does it cost? Do I believe this class is going to be relevant 5 years from now and 10 years from now? Can the district sustain it? Whatever that matrix might be. And then, of course, the ongoing dialogue is needed in all of the areas, but I'd say specifically in this area, even more dialogue, because I'd say this still is the core of what we do. The technology is the tool to reach a lot of this academic means, but the academic still comes to the core of what we want to do. So are there any questions on this?
It's really important that the board understand too that, if this goes on 5 or 6 years, it might involve new priorities, different players in the discussions, but it's so cool to have parents and business members and teachers and principals and teachers wearing other hats. Josh Colvin would be a good example, because when he attended the academic meetings, he clearly was attending as a parent in his perspective of having a kindergartner. And it was very different from his perspective as a high school teacher. But to have these discussions about where we should go and what we should do was really valuable. And they're not going to end if the board supports this going forward.
So what we'll do from here with the Vision 2025, we'll share it at our staff meetings with all of our staff. And then how to communicate it. Is that a big public meeting? Somebody at our advisory committee said, maybe we need to start targeting that if there's conferences coming up, parent-teacher conferences, that Tim Collins and Mike Johnson are available for any parent who wants to ask questions. Targeting when the people are already here, rather than inviting them always to a single night. That's good too. So I think we're going to take some time to look at that administratively as well. Well, with that, we're ready for the action items.
Okay. Got 12 right in here, sorry. We have a number of retirements, number one on the list. Four people with long time years of service.
Quick maths tells me that's 116 years of service going out the door.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyone want to make the motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Thank you very much. I
Yes.
mean, look at, I mean, just,
All
Yeah.
over 20 years, one of
Yeah.
them at 40 years.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's quite a career.
yep, great stuff.
These people don't seem that old. How could they, how could they be all retired with that many years? So,
Well, I wasn't gonna say the name out loud, but she'd probably thank me because I just thought that when I saw Deb
yeah.
Dewey, I was like, 40 years she's been teaching here, how old is
Yeah.
she? So she must have started when she was 17 or 16, but yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That means we're getting older too, Dan.
Yeah. I spent some quality time with Kathy Banks way back, and so can't believe that she's been here 35 years either. I mean, wow, time flies.
Did we get a second on that?
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Much thanks. Motion to accept resignations of a couple of other people.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
I just want to share that Mary was one of two teachers at the board we had granted leaves to. We typically don't grant the leaves, but we did because we were in budget cutting time, so it was to our advantage. In her letter, she thanked the board for giving us the time to be home with her children, and she's made a decision to continue on that path. So she was very appreciative that the board gave her that 2-year opportunity. And of course, very good teacher, but it helped us at that time budget-wise, and it helps us as we went through our 5-year projections to get that retirement, or not retirement, resignation. So I just wanted to share that with you as a board.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And to leave.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And the employment of 5 new people in a variety of support roles.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And a reassignment. I assume that's some kind of pay equity thing or something.
I'll make the motion for the reassignment.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And a motion to approve the non-public transportation reimbursement rate per student for families whose children attend non-public schools outside of District 200, and that's a statutory compliance thing, so.
Yes, what Kim does is, the state of Minnesota gives us so much money based on how many families or students that we have that go out of district for them to help transport their students. We can either transport them to our district boundary lines and or they can drive, and most of them drive, and as you can tell, $225 isn't a lot of money. But what Kim does is she takes the money that we get from the state, she divides it on average of how many families use it, and we give it all back. So we spend every penny that we are as close. We make sure that we don't spend more money. So she does budget it that way, but so that number changes depending on how much the state gives, and we give it all back to those who do use it.
Dave, may I make the motion? In second?
Yep.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And our most fun motion of the evening, there's a young man over there dressed up rather nicely who We
Talk
met as
about
a
you
committee,
being
and we did have 4
He's lucky.
members of the community step up and submit resumes and cover letters, and we interviewed all 4 of them, and we appreciate everybody who indicated an interest. It was a tough decision, but Russ is such a committed and passionate person about working in so many areas for kids in the district that for us it was unanimous that we would recommend him. So the next motion is to appoint Russ to the Hastings Board to fill Angie's position until the election in November, and the remainder of the term, which would expire on the first Monday of January 2018. But his position would only last until November
yeah.
26.
2016. Anybody want to make the motion?
I think we need
Is that right, though? Is it
2015
election?
2015.
I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is 16.
No, 18. She has 2 years left on her.
So the election occurs in 15, the term runs 16,
17.
17, and then
And
January.
First
From
Monday in
18
Through
January.
17, and then,
Yeah.
First Monday in January,
Correct.
18.
correct.
Oh, okay, I see.
So the election is this fall.
So Russ will be on until November of 2015.
Correct.
Yes. And
All
then
right.
And whoever's elected
Now-
to that seat in November takes over immediately.
Yep.
They don't wait until January.
So do we need a motion and a second, or do
Yeah.
we do a roll vote?
We do need a roll call vote. but
A
we need
motion and a second, and then.
I will make the motion.
Second.
Okay.
Any discussion? Might as well do the roll call.
Dan Keeter,
Yes.
Scott Bergen,
Yes.
Lisa Hidding,
Yes.
Kyle Latch,
Yes.
Teresa Moe, yes. Vince O'Brien.
Yes.
And Russ, I'd like to invite you up in front of the camera and have you swear
Oh, don't have him swear right away.
in.
Usually,
Swear to take the oath of office. So we'll come right up here.
Russ, I gotta take a picture.
Yep, raise your right hand and repeat after me.
He's not waiting.
No problem.
I swear
I swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
and I will discharge
and I will discharge
faithfully
faithfully
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of school board member
of school board member
of Independent School District
of Independent School District
number 200
number 200
to the best of my judgment
to the best of my judgment
and ability.
and ability.
Congratulations. You can join us at the long table. We didn't want to put any pressure on you to make any decisions tonight, so your first evening is, unless you want to make the motion to adjourn, I suppose we could do that.
I think we're gonna have to reserve
Somebody
that
did
for him so he
suggest
can-
that.
I did, so he could get into the minutes. He's gotta get into the minutes here, so.
But please note the dates of the upcoming activities for everybody, and then Russ, you want to take a shot at that motion to adjourn?
I'll motion to adjourn.
All right, second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Yay.